Hey guys, welcome to Race to Reality event powered by RaceCentre, broadcasted by V8 Online. We are here today at Road Atlanta. I'm your host Daniel Briant, and here with me the hottest man in sim racing, and I'm not just talking about his hair, GTR owner Madison Down. Madison, how are you going?
Yeah, good Daniel. Cheers for the wrap there at the start. Should be a great night of racing. We've got a bit more open track tonight in Road Atlanta, so hopefully it's a nice close race.
Yeah, Road Atlanta. I was really excited about this one, seeing it on the grid. It's got some really nice kind of semi-long straights in the short version where you can kind of really get in, tuck your car in behind another car, get a bit of slip, and hopefully some good passing opportunities. But yeah, this should be a good event tonight.
Yeah, as you just said then, yeah, I mean, last week we saw how important the draft was, and this week, as you mentioned, there's that really long straight down the back and leads into a nice little chicane there, so there's a nice, good braking zone where you should be able to make moves, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. So, how was your experience last week anyway, Madison? You took out the first win for Race to Reality, which gets you a ticket into the iRacing final to hopefully get your seat into the grand final at RaceCentre. How was your experience with the whole thing?
Yeah, it's a really, really well-run event, very professional. Wasn't really expecting to be racing last week, but yeah, managed to get a seat thanks to Extreme Sim Gear there, so yeah, a bit lucky to come away with the win, I think, but really great race with Ben Cornett for the lead. Very enjoyable car to drive, and you know, at a track I love too, Oran Park Raceway. So really enjoyed last week. If last week's anything to go by, the next few should be cracker races.
Yeah, definitely. And there's going to be some top guys in here that are trying to secure their seat onto the final, because that's what it's all about. These are the qualifying heats to get into the iRacing final. And there's some big races, but every week one of them will get a chance. You've got your seat. Tonight we've got Justin Ruggier, who's in there with the chance, George Morris, Mitchell Abril, who's looking really fast in one of these legends, Brad Ryan, who's just come back and is getting back into sim racing again now. We saw him back out on the V8s this week. Reese Gardner, who's always a wild card, Corey Henga, who, you know, we never know what he's going to pull out of his hat. Maybe he might, maybe, you know. So there's a few big names up there. Who's your money on?
George Morris is looking pretty strong tonight, but Justin Ruggier, he's always very, very strong in this car. So my money would be on Ruggier for the win.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've got Brad Ryan about to do a hot lap with us as well, if he's floating around there somewhere.
Is my mic working?
Got you loud and clear.
Wait. Just get around to it.
So Brad, you enjoying the car this week?
This car?
Yep.
It's alright. It's a bit of a challenge. Nice and tricky, which is good.
Yeah, when I was speaking to you just before, you mentioned how smooth you had to drive the car, and how are you finding it around here? Is it easy to get a quick lap time out of it, or is it a bit of a challenge, a bit hit and miss?
Yeah, a lot of hit and miss. It's just trying to work on getting the right line and seeing what the car does when you push it a bit too hard. But no, it's not too bad. Should see how I don't know if I'll quite have the pace as the top three guys, but good fun.
You're not too far away, so yeah, it should be a good race too. Nice, good passing opportunity down here.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of trouble with the brakes actually in the air. Not sure where to brake yet, but yeah, pretty much get a nice line into here.
Take us away, Brad.
Quick third, ride the bumps, pretty bumpy. Into fourth, should take this flat. Successful so far. Change to fifth. Look to the left, brake here. Down to third, bit understeer. Run up the road. Keep it in third. Down to second. Hit that curb if you can, but once again understeer. Got shift to third. To fourth through this corner. Ride this curb. This corner's a bit tricky at the moment because it's tries to get you to take a little bit faster than what you probably can at the moment. hold it flat, and then just try and find your braking marker on the right down here. I look at these lines, down to second. Once again, the car's got a lot on the steer, oversteer, bang into third, and then pretty much hopefully hold the foot flat through this final corner. And that was a relatively horrible lap of the track.
Well done, you kept on the track. We really saw there how much understeer the car has on turn-in, and then at the chicane then at the end how much oversteer it's got on power.
Yeah, it's I guess that's what it's similar to the Aussie car, and I mean that's what everyone's trying to win. But yeah, you gotta really rely on your footwork to get the car around the track. It's unlike the other cars that you drive on the service. It's yeah, all down to the driver to do the best job rather than the setup.
Yeah, it is true, isn't it? You drive race cars more with your feet than with your hands, they say, and with this car, it's definitely a great example of that.
Yeah, it's yeah, I guess that's something that you gotta try and work on, and obviously I've been away for a bit, so still trying to get back into the rhythm. But yeah, that's what the top three guys are pretty much nailing at the moment. It's just with their throttle and braking, they've got it spot on at the moment. So, but hopefully we'll do pretty well in qualifying.
Thanks, Brad, for the hot lap. Thanks for joining us. Good luck for the race.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. Good lap out there. You did a lot better than what I could do in that 30 minutes of practice that I did before jumping in here. So yeah, good job.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you after the race.
See ya, mate.
Catch up.
Yeah, it definitely is a tricky little track. A lot of on and off the throttle, and the car's a little bit of a handful. Like, you've really got to control the car. It slides. It really moves. It's so light, and so there's a bit of power running through it. So it is. It's a lot of fun to drive, but to keep it under control for 40 minutes is a big ask.
Yeah, that's it. And the other key thing is the power to weight ratio with this car is pretty good, and also it's very short wheelbase, so you can slide it up to a point, but when it gets past that certain limit of grip, it just rotates so unbelievably quick. So it's certainly a handful for 40 minutes. As fun as it is to drive, you got to be on your game. Yeah,
definitely. There's no time to rest. You kind of let your mind lapse there for 1 second, and you're spinning. And there it is. There is no once you start spinning, you really no chance of saving it. You can slide it quite easily, but once your back end goes a little bit too far, there's no way you're bringing that back. The car just spins, and it's lap over, and in this case it could be race over.
Yeah, that's it. Looking at the times at the moment, George Morris seems to be quickest on a 5.6. He's got a 10th.5 gap, so looking pretty pacey tonight, George Morris.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely got a bit of pace, and most of these lap times, I haven't seen anyone try to use slip to their advantage yet. I wonder if coming into qualifying, some of these guys are teammates and good friends, so we might see some guys trying to use some slip tactics just to get that good qualifying position, because it's going to be one of those things. Position's going to be everything here, and if you can stay within the pack, then anyone's got a chance of winning. It doesn't matter what kind of time you can do by yourself, because slip's going to be everything.
Welcome to everybody watching in RaceCentre as well. We've got word there's a few guys there tuning into the broadcast, so good day to you guys, and hope you enjoy the race tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome to the guys at RaceCentre. Hopefully this provides a fair bit of entertainment, but there's a lot of stuff to do down at RaceCentre. Jump on one of the rigs and give it a go. I'm pretty sure you can win another seat if you want to get in by setting fastest hot lap time around Bathurst. And I think I saw someone did, on soft tyres, did a 2 minute .692, I think the time was, which is absolutely unbelievable. But then again, I don't think I've ever actually tried soft tyres on a Batched car using R Factor.
Yeah, that sounds like a good lap to me. That's yeah, it's going to be very tough to beat.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe you need to find yourself a second spot just to be safe, Madison, and go get down to RaceCentre and try and beat that one. It's probably been a while since you've booted up R Factor, because you've been so plugged into iRacing and dominating the V8s in that series. Can't remember the last time we actually did a V8 R-Factor league.
Oh, for me, R-Factor League racing, I would have done that probably over a year and a half ago, so I've been out of the seat in R-Factor for a long time, but certainly got to look at going to RaceCentre, guys, if you're in Sydney or the Gold Coast. Certainly a place to look at. Unfortunately, I haven't got down there yet myself, but it's something I definitely want to tick off my list.
Yeah, definitely. If you haven't been down there, get down there. And Sydney's also offering iRacing, so if you've got an iRacing subscription and you want to test out some high quality gear, head down to RaceCentre and give your iRacing a crack. Maybe you should head down there and do a V8 race from there with a bit of motion. Might make you a bit sick there, Madison.
Yeah, no one's used to the motion cockpits. I think we might need to organise a group of guys that race in the V8 supercars on the Line Series to go down there for a bit of a social night or something. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. We'll put that on the iRacing social calendar. We're all heading to RaceCentre.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So at the moment, we've got our lucky winner from the V8s Online, Noah, who's got his lucky seat for a chance to win tonight. That's Craig Dorr for voting on best and fairest for Monday night's race. And there was a fair few of them out there at Watkins Glen. There was some really good quality racing. Some ordinary stuff floating around there as well from what I've seen in the playback, but a lot of good stuff as well.
Yeah, the racing at Watkins was fantastic. I watched the broadcast back after the race, and obviously I was involved in a pretty good battle for the lead, but all the way through the field there was close racing, and mostly it was pretty fair. There was a little bit of average driving in the first few laps, there always is, but yeah, great round at Watkins Glen, and yeah, good luck to Craig Dorr tonight in the race.
Certainly, good to see someone out there, and I mean, even if he doesn't win tonight, a good experience. There's some big names out there that he can really learn off, and actually seeing him from when he first started, his times have really started getting good. He's into the 107s now. I think he started on a 110 when I first saw him out there, so his times are getting there.
He's starting to get his head around it with a little bit more seat time, and as you said, he's racing against some pretty experienced drivers tonight. He probably wouldn't really get that chance too often. I don't think he races in top split in Monday night, so yeah, it'll be a good chance to test himself up against the best.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and George Maris's seat tonight is actually coming over from Vale. Vale Richards got voted best and fairest for from Monday night's race, but George Maris, lucky runner-up, is actually taking Vale's seat. Vale handed it over because he couldn't make it tonight, so it's good to see George Maris out there as well.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Vale drove a great race on Monday night as well. I felt a little bit bad. I robbed him of a win in a way. Hasn't won one of those races before, and he drove brilliantly up in second, and yeah, obviously he can't make it tonight. So yeah, he's handed the spot to George Maris, and George certainly taking advantage of that now, fastest in practice. So George has grabbed that opportunity with both hands.
Yeah, definitely. Good to see in there. It's actually some quality driving in the V8 series. George Maris has been doing really well. He's really picked up game. Vale Richards, though, is a serious contender. It's not going to be too long till he starts putting a couple of wins behind him.
He's certainly stepped up in the past few rounds, and we've seen this a little bit this season with the V8 Supercars series with John Emerson as well grabbing his first win. There's quite a few drivers now that are starting to challenge the guys who have been up the front for a while, which is great to see.
Yeah, it's definitely adding a mix to it, and Vale Richards has been one that I think nearly every broadcast I've watched, I've seen him there, and he hasn't got the win yet, but he's doing the same thing Muggleton and Buggy were doing not that long ago, where they were just sitting there and they were knocking on your door. So it's probably not going to be too long until Vale's jumped in front of you for a bit there, Madison.
Yeah, he certainly stepped up, as I said, on Monday night. So yeah, I think we'll see him up in the top three in the next few rounds as well. He's certainly got pace to burn as we move into qualifying. This is an all-in 20-minute session, so track position is going to be key here. You don't want to get balked. I think it's a fairly long track. It's almost 8 k's. So with these small cars, hopefully they can spread out nicely.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be interesting to see if we're going to see some teammates work together here, just to get that little bit of slip, just to give you that bit extra speed, especially down that straight. If you can get a teammate lined up at the right time, get that slip all the way down that straight, it's definitely going to be a plus coming into your quali time.
Yeah, that's it. It's interesting looking at these different out strategies as well. Miles Burton's actually taken off and doing a fast outlap, so he'll be looking to bank a time. Whereas back in the field, a lot of guys are on slow outlaps, saving the tyres. So there's just a few different strategies in the way that approach this.
Definitely. It's going to be good. We're on board with George Maris at the moment, and this is the guy who's at the fastest time in practice, and see what he can pull out in qualifying. He's pretty speedy in that little thing, isn't he? He's really hooking it into that corner.
You got it nicely turned into one, carry really good mid-corner speed. You got to make this curve on the right, as Brad said, which he's just missed it, just ran a little bit wide. But you can see how smooth he's driving. His lines are very, very smooth. A little bit sideways there, though.
Yeah, those ripple strips, you hit them a little bit too hard, and it's going to cost you in this car. You lift those wheels, get no traction, and it really hurts you. And you can feel the car getting loose and starting to really move around.
Yeah, curbs are pretty uncool in the Legend. They upset it quite a fair bit. So you want to keep off those. But these ones here are relatively flat. That's very deep under brakes. Got to stop though.
All that ripple strip coming out of there. Being for a half decent lap.
I was going to say, yeah, relatively clean lap. We'll see what the time is. He's done a 105.863, which will be fastest session so far, and that'll be tough to beat. That's a very fast lap from George Maris straight out of the box.
Yeah, definitely, and that's one of the biggest things in these qualifying sessions. Is although you might make that little bit of a mistake, it's best just to get that one lap in and get it banked so it's sitting there. Because unlike V8 Online, where we normally have a couple of qualifying sessions that you've got a chance you can go, no, I'll just go to the next one. This is a one-run quali session. So bank that hot lap, that first lap, because you don't know what the other guys are going to do. And then once you've got a good lap in, you can just sit there and try and beat it from there.
Yeah, that's it. Just watching Justin come across the line, and he's done a 5.606 and gone to the top. Now that has to, beg the question, was Justin sandbagging a little bit in practice? Because that's 4/10 quicker than his practice lap.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's always had something hidden up his sleeve here. He's definitely a strong contender for this. I mean, he's had the experience in one of these cars already. He's one of those guys that can almost get into anything and make it go fast. So you would have to put him up there as, he could be one of the guys as well as you that could potentially take out this drive at Homebush.
Yeah, and he's had a lot of experience as well with Aussie Racing Cars. So I think for me, Rugi is the guy to beat. I think he's going to be very, very fast, and he's also quite quick in R factor as well. So if he does make the final, he'll strong.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe just if he wins tonight, you're probably going to have to take a run down to RaceCentre and try and get one of those hot laps in, mate. So you can got another seat sitting there. So if you don't make it past the iRacing final because Justin's in there, then you've got another spot at least ready to go.
Not a bad idea.
Look at Robert Tomo now. He's only just popped into session. These guys made it in just before qualifying. Robert and Michael, who is still yet to come out and settle that.
George Maris has actually improved as well. He's now down to a 5.669. So, although Justin and George are no longer teammates at ANZ Motorsports, George has left that organisation. They will be very, very competitive with each other, being former teammates. So I think this is going to be a cracking race between those two.
Yeah, definitely. George Maris should this should be a good showing, especially with those quali times being so close. It's going to really put them close together, and there's plenty of room to overtake here under the slip. going to make some brilliant racing. And it looks like Mitchell Abrill's starting to speed up a little bit now as well. He's put in a 6.07. So, good time. Brad Ryan there with a 6.298.
Yeah, certainly is. And Mitch Averill's been another one that's really impressed me in recent weeks. He's been very, very fast, particularly in this Legend.
Yeah, I think by the end of these rounds, I think Mitchell Abrill's going to be a guy up there who's actually going to have a seat into the iRacing final. And if we keep getting the quality of drivers coming through, that iRacing final is going to be probably one of the best races of the year, I'd say, in these little Legends, with some of the quality that will be out there. Looks like George Maris has hit Justin. It's on his lap at the moment. George Maris has done a 5.572. Very fast time.
I noticed Justin before actually sitting stationary on his outlap. I'd say he would have been trying to drop temperature out of the tyres. As weird as it sounds, it's actually quicker on cold tyres in iRacing. They haven't quite got their heads around the updated tyre model. And Justin, the top 5.430.
Jeez, these guys are just getting brutal
lap.
now. This is getting brutal. These guys are just this is going to go back and forward, back and forward. I wonder if we're going to see anyone else drop into the fives. Mitchell's got, I'm pretty sure his practice times he was a 5.8, and so we still might see Mitchell pull out something crazy yet. Yeah, these guys are really starting to heat it up now.
I'm blown away by Edson and George. They are absolutely flying. It shows you they were holding a little bit back in practice. And they're actually both just about the same in qualifying, funnily enough. So, yeah, they're flying. Great lap time, both of them.
Absolutely sensational. And this actually goes to show you how good these guys actually are. There's so much talk out there all the time about setup, what setup you're using for V8 supercars and whatnot. You know, that's where they're getting their speed. It's got to be in the setup. But, you know, these guys, these are all running default road setup. Look at the times that they're putting down. So it goes to show that it's not all in setup. It's all about your wheel work, your pedals. Your pedals are so important in this car. Your throttle control, your brake. You know, so that's where you really can find the time. How much time do you actually think there is in a setup, Madison?
As you said, there's a lot more time in driving. I reckon there's seconds in driving, and there's maybe between half a tenth and a second in setup. At most places, there's only, about half a second, sorry. So there's tenths in setup. It is the difference between winning and losing, but if you're a long way away from the mark, setup's probably not going to help too much. And as you said, you know, the cream has still risen to the top in this server.
Definitely. And it looks like Corey's starting to get his head around the car a little bit here. He was struggling before. I'm pretty sure I heard some abusive words that I won't repeat because we're broadcasting. But 106.213, that's it's a fairly good time for a guy who's been spending most of his time on ovals lately, which is really strange to see considering he was all about road racing. But we won't go down that path at the moment. But yeah, some really good times. Reece G, now 106.7 at 5.1, doing a really good job. This guy is probably one of my favourite sim racers, and I'm not being biased because I'm the team boss and he's in my team. But if you've actually ever raced against Reece, or you've seen one of his videos of him racing, it's absolutely crazy what he does. Have you seen Reece's video, Madison, of him racing one-handed?
Yeah, I have. It's unbelievable. I can't believe he actually uses H-pattern shifters and sequential shifters as well, so he has to take his hands completely off the wheel to change gears. It's just the craziest thing you've ever seen, and you know, in this server, he's not too far away at the moment. He's on a 6.7 in 6th place. I can't believe he's that quick driving one-handed. It's just insane.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And yeah, one of the nicest guys that you'll meet. I always enjoy having Reece around. He's friendly and he's just a good guy to race with. And he has so much knowledge in his head. He's great to have around. But yeah, there's a fair few guys out there. Michael Manley. Now, we were just talking about this before and we were a little bit unsure if he was going to come through because if I read right on the list that was sent to me about the guys that were coming in, Michael Manley got kicked by a cow before actually racing. So
it's actually one of the strangest things that we've read on entry form before. That is, I don't know how to explain that one. We might have to try and find out for the next broadcast what happened there.
exactly. I was like being kicked by a cow. Really quite interesting, but it's good to see me. And he's actually put in half decent times, the 106.752. You know, so he's carrying an injury at the moment because I'm sure that cows' kicks aren't like little taps. I'm sure he's carrying a fairly nice bruise with that. So good to see that he could make it out here.
Yeah, great effort. As you said, I mean, he's lucky not to have serious injuries out of that one. So yeah, great to see him make the race tonight.
So
George Morris looks like another lap actually, and he's slightly improved. He's down to a 5.515. It doesn't move him ahead of Justin, but you know that gap, it's only about 0.08 of a second. It's so close at the front.
Yeah, it looks like we've got Mitchell Abril just on his next hot lap at the moment as well. 106.001 still for him. He still hasn't made into the fives for this qualifying session, but hopefully it won't be too much longer and we'll see him in there.
Yeah, I think he'll be disappointed not to be in the fives so far, but you know, there's 8 minutes to go left in the session, and anything can happen in that 8 minutes. Pretty close field actually. There's only 2.3 seconds covering the entire field, which is pretty good considering these guys haven't really done too much practice for this event, and it's, you know, we've only had 12 minutes of qualifying. As you said, it's not like we can qualify all week long for this. And Mitchell Abril into the fives, 5.917.
So he's done it. He'll be happy to have just cracked those fives. And now he's still got a few more minutes up his sleeve. He can get out there, he can get a couple of more hot laps in, and hopefully get a little bit closer. But, I mean, it's one of those cars. These cars are going to be that close. One little mistake from George and Justin, and that win's going to be Mitchell's. He's just going to be able to drive straight through.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, you know, Justin Ricciardo, George is two of the most competitive guys I've ever raced against, and when there's a spot up for grabs like in this race to reality competition, second means nothing. There's no championship here on the line. It's win it all basically, and those guys are going to be pushing really hard to win this race tonight. Mitch Abril, third, might not be such a bad spot.
No, exactly. These guys are going to be putting it all on the line. They're going to want it. I've spoken to Justin plenty of times about his ideas, and he wants a racing gig, and he's got the skill to get there. He's definitely seen some of the stuff that he does. He's an absolutely brilliant peddler, and he'll take any opportunity to get his name out there. And he's going to want this, and so is George Maris. So this is where temperatures rise, accidents happen, and it could happen. And we even see it gets that competitive on Bayouts Online. Temperatures rise, accident happens. People want that win, and yeah, so it's sometimes it might be better just to be sitting back and just tipping off the spots as people are falling off.
Just watching Brad Ryan about to start his hot lap, he's actually improved to a 6.013, which puts him P4. No improvement in position, but slight improvement in lap time. So we might see Ryan jump into the 105 range as well, which I don't think he was in the fives in practice. No, he wasn't. So he did a 6.3 in practice, so he's already gone 0.3 faster than that.
Yeah, he's definitely starting to find a bit of speed, starting to twitch what he's doing a little bit, and getting that car all sorted. Watching him at the moment, he seems to be attacking those curves probably a little bit too much. That's probably where he's losing a little bit of time, but probably can't judge him too much because there's no chance that I'd be getting near 106.01.
He's just battling with understeer, it looks like, a little bit. Obviously, they're on the same setup, it's a fixed setup race, but it's got a lot to do with how you flow the car and how you drive the car. And I saw that on his hot lap as well that he did for the broadcast. He just looked like he was struggling getting it turned in. Saying that though, he's done a great job in this chicane, makes both the apexes, nice straight exit. It's been a fairly tidy lap, see if he improves. Coming to the line on the bridge, 6.3, so no improvement there from Brad Ryan. He'll go go back to the pits and have another crack.
Such a tricky little car, and actually coming off to that bit where it cuts off the straights and to the short circuit part, it's really hard to pick how much speed you should carry through there. And just as you come over, there's a little bit of a hill there, and the car gets a little bit taily, so you've kind of got to lift a little bit. And it's probably one of the trickiest parts, I reckon, in this track to get right, that little short cut-off bit, because it really feels weird, and the car starts to slide through there. So getting that right and absolutely nailing it's going to be where all the time is.
Yeah, certainly, and you know, these cars have very limited horsepower output as well. They're just a motorbike engine, so Justin Ruggiero.
You can definitely see the difference between Justin's style and Brad's style. Justin's really got this car dialed in. For a default set, he's running this really well. Comes in now, hits both apexes. A little bit wide there.
It's been a fairly tidy lap there from Justin. 5.5, not quite as quick as his 5.4, but still a great lap nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of guys that would quite happily take that lap.
Yeah. George Morris has just started another one. We'll see if he has got what it takes here. He only needs to find 0.085 of a second, but that'll feel like a year to George in that car right now. In racing, 0.08, you know, it's the click of a finger, basically. It's just unbelievably small amount of time, but on a racetrack, that is just so hard to find.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like, you know, those pence, 100th, it all counts. And it's very, very hard to find it. Sometimes you might feel like you've absolutely nailed that lap and there's nothing else you can get out of it, and then someone just takes that little bit off you. It's like, where did they get that from?
Comes to the line, we'll see what he does. 5.6, so again, not an improvement, but still a very, very tidy lap.
We'll look with Corey at the moment.
Finishing a lap by the looks of it, very committed on the brakes, had the rear skating in there. A little bit sideways, that will have cost him a little bit of time there. See what he does as he crosses the line. He does a 6.329, so not an improvement. He'll be kicking himself for that little mistake off that final chicane there. It's got a little bit sideways on him, which will have badly hurt his acceleration, you'd have to think, coming over that hill.
Yeah, definitely coming in off that straight into those corners there. If you're really committed under brakes and the car starts squealing, you seem to lose grip, and once you lose that momentum going through and you can't hit those apexes in those corners, it pretty much just ruins your lap because you can't get a good run coming up over the crest and then through that right-hand turn there, and you lose momentum there and you've lost most of your time. That's what Road Atlanta seems to be mostly about, is just maintaining momentum. There's not many sharp corners. There's a lot of, you know, the right-handers that are just constantly flowing. So there's actually, you've got your last corner is got consistent flow. Your first corner as well. Knowing that first corner is really tricky. It's a little bit deceiving. You don't know how fast to go into there, and just kind of getting it and being committed to that corner is very hard.
Yeah, it tightens up a little bit when you get to the apex, and it's a little bit blind, so it's very hard to see. Just looking at Justin Ruggiero at the moment, finishing his, well, you'd have to think final hot lap of the session. There's 10 seconds remaining. He'll get one more if he wants to push on with it. Does a 5.447, nothing in it, doesn't improve. He's got one more hot lap, but you'd have to assume the tyres won't quite be there for the second hot lap. George Morris finishing his final hot lap of the session, coming down the hill into the chicane. Very deep under brakes, but very smooth. Makes both the apexes. Nice straight exit up under the Suzuki bridge. Should be a good lap. I've been watching this one a little bit. We'll see what it is crossing the line. Very committed, 5.57. Doesn't get there. I'd say he'll be starting from second place though, so great for him to be on the front row.
Like Corey now, he's just about to finish his... Oh, no, he's put it sideways. He's got a bit too hot. I'm going to get in trouble for that because I just mentioned his name. I can hear abusive words now. That
was your fault, Daniel, I think.
Yeah.
He'll, that's what he'll claim at least.
Yeah, that's right. It's not going to be lack of talent, it's going to be all my fault. No, he's actually really good at what he does.
Craig Dorr finishing his final hot lap for the session. Not sure he'll get it actually, there's only 8, no, he's run wide there, that'll disallow the lap anyway. We've got about 3 seconds until the session clicks over to the race. So we've got Justin Rougier from pole position. He did a 5.430. Very, very close for second. George Maris, 5.515. Mitch Abrahall grabbed third with his 1 minute 5 lap time, 5.91. Brad Ryan, fourth. Corey Henger, fifth. Reece Gardner, sixth. Michael Manley in seventh. Daniel McKernan, eighth. Craig Dorr, the V8's online winner, I suppose you could say, for his spot tonight, in ninth. Miles Burden, 10th. James Scanlon, 11th. Robert Tomei, 12th. And that rounds out the field.
It's going to be an interesting race. Really close times there. These guys go hard for 40 minutes and keep... I think we're going to see a lot of passing and moving, especially between Justin and George Murray. Because it's definitely a hard track to kind of defend those moves. If someone's got more pace, you're probably better off just letting them go through and then just getting straight back into their slip and making the most of it next lap around.
Yeah, you'd have to think if you were George Morris or Justin Rougier up the front, you'd want to be working together to pull away from Mitch Abrahall. I think Mitch Abrahall here is the dark horse. He's got the pace to kind of stay with them, it looks like, but I'm sure Justin and George, if they put their head to it, can pull a bit of a gap. Definitely. So they just need to not fight too hard in these opening laps.
Definitely, it's going to be what it's all about. I mean, we've seen these guys for the last 25, 30 minutes now do hot laps, but this is all about keeping the car together now for 40 minutes. So it's all right to do a couple of quick laps, but keeping it together is definitely the key.
Yeah, that's it. Revs should start to rise very shortly. We should have about 10 seconds until the lights come on. Here we go, the revs rise for round 2 of Race to Reality iRacing Heats. There's a green, it might have been a jump start there for Brad Ryan. That jump looked a little bit too good. He'll go to the lead though nonetheless.
Wow, isn't that a great start? If he hasn't got a jump start for that, he will be absolutely chuffed. But we'll soon find out.
Nicely clean through one with a car down the back there. Miles Burton just ran a little bit wide. But apart from that, there's been no contact.
Nice clean line through there. Everyone seems to be keeping their cool. Yeah,
that was an amazing for Brad Ryan. One would have to...
Whoa, George Maris!
That was a little too... George Maris, yeah. They've got together. This... About.
The two big guys have already had it.
Wow. Two fastest drivers in the race made contact. This makes you wonder, have damage?
Definitely. You know, you can see them here. It looks like George Maris has just gotten just under the back of Justin there and gone around.
Yeah, Justin just slightly left a gap and George pounced, but I'm not sure there was ever really going to be a move on there, but it was only really light contact, and these guys have got amazing, as we saw in qualifying, so you're going to have to watch these guys work their way back through the field. Yeah,
George Maris is obviously coming out of better than that than what Justin has. George Maris now making his way back through the back of the pack. So Ruggie has still got a little bit to do to catch up, but this has definitely thrown us better into the work. looks like we've got Brad Ryan has actually got a fairly commanding lead already for being the second lap in.
Yeah, we'll have to see at the end of lap 3 if he's got that stop-go penalty for that jump start. Well, assuming it was a jump start, I'll have to assume it was. He got an amazing jump, either that, or yeah, he was just anticipated the lights and got it right.
Yeah, Corey here on the back of Mitchell. This is what we were talking about before, slip that completely changes what will happen in the race. Corey's sitting here right behind Mitchell, but his lap times were, what, half a second or so off what Mitchell was doing, so, you know.
Yeah, and he's keeping with him quite well here, keeping him
we've
honest.
had someone go a little bit wide at the back there, but he's kept it together. Now, McKernan's just kind of come back from a bit of a hiatus from sim racing. So it's good to see him back out on the track there. I think he was up late last night trying to knock in a couple of MX5 races.
Brake door there, trying a little bit wide up through turn 1, it looks like. It's very easy to do. We spoke about that before, Daniel, how hard turn 1 is to get right. Just ran that little bit wide and couldn't get it back. Didn't hit anything though.
George Morris coming through. He's on the back of James Scanlon at the moment. Shouldn't take him too long to get around James. James, one of our rookie drivers.
He's already made up a fair bit of ground, and he hasn't really lost too much time to the leaders. He's got the move done there on James Scanlon, so that'll be up to position 7, I believe, for George Morris. Mitch Abril has grabbed the lead from Brad Ryan, but Brad Ryan's having a look back. Doesn't quite get it done there.
Or he goes a little bit wide in there, probably didn't get enough speed as he wanted coming out. But Brad Ryan's still there.
Great battle up here for the lead. Brad Ryan has not served a penalty yet, so maybe he hasn't got one. Maybe it was just a blinding start.
He really nailed that start. That was absolutely brilliant.
Mitch Abrahall, he pulled a little bit of a gap away from Brad Ryan. We saw he had better pace in qualifying. He'll be looking to try and hurry off down the track and build a lead while George Morris and Justin Ruggier have to work their way back through the field.
Exactly. This is what he's going to need to. He's going to need to break away from these guys really fast, because if George Morris gets back up there, it's going to be really hard to maintain that lead. He needs to build as big a gap as he can now and just run his own race.
It's a long race. We spoke about it. Spoke about it before. 40-minute race, and we're only about 4 minutes into this one. Brad Ryan, it's lap 5 of the race. You have to serve a penalty within 3 laps, so I'd say he doesn't have one, which is great for him. He's up there fighting for the lead. So fantastic start for Brad Ryan.
Yeah, absolute blinder. You wouldn't have picked that jump from anyone, and I'm sure a lot of the guys are like, that's got to be a penalty. That's got to be a penalty. There's no way you jump like that.
Yeah, I was straight away. I couldn't believe how good the jump was. I just thought penalty for sure, but I'm amazed. I'm blown away by that. I might need to go and get starting practice from Brad Ryan.
George Morris has made his way past Reach, now onto the back of McKernan.
That'll be up to 6th place now for George Morris. He's 5.5 seconds off the lead of the motor race and mowing his way back through the field very fast, but Justin Ruggier is also following 4 seconds back.
Yeah, Justin's made up a fair bit of ground. He's starting to make his way through. Brad Ryan really hasn't lost too much ground. You can see areas where Mitchell's a little bit faster, and then Brad just kind of pulls it all back in again. And that's the biggest thing. As soon as you hit those straights, you can make those little mistakes if you're sitting behind someone, because you can pull it all back in going down the straight.
Corey's really very close to the back of Brad Ryan.
Very aggressive. He's going to back out of it.
This might be that break that Mitch Abrahall needs. Brad Ryan now's fallen about a second away as Brad defends heavily from Corey Henger. George Morris now up to 5th place. He's past Daniel McKernan.
Looks like Corey's got a run here on Brad. Going to have a look. Brad defends from the inside line there. Oh!
Very deep, nearly contact.
Corey's
going to get it on the outside.
That's where you want to be. Oh, he looks like he had a bit of trouble trying to get the power down.
Oh,
still
this
gonna
is
hold his
scary.
line.
Too wide through the final corner.
Oh,
Be careful, fellas.
No, it's gonna hold it. Oh,
Wow, that's great driving by both those guys, but Brad cuts to the inside, only just clear. There was nothing in that.
Brad's doing some really good defending. Oh,
That's the break that Mitch Abel needed. He's got a huge lead as a result of that. It's out to 2 seconds.
Yeah, well, as long as these guys are fighting, it gives him a chance to just kind of take away.
Yeah, that was great driving, both Brad Ryan and Corey Hinger there. They both left up the space and avoided an accident, basically. There was a few corners there that you normally wouldn't get 2 cars through. However, these cars are half the size of a normal car, so that might have something to do with that as well. Corey's got another great run onto this back straight. He'll jump in the draft.
That short part of the circuit's definitely where the action is. He's going to take the inside line here.
Looks to the inside.
But Brad's going to get the outside unless he's going to switch it.
Crisscross him.
He's going,
They've both gone sideways.
It's hard to get the power down there, but he's going to hold. Yeah, no, he's got this done. We had a bit of a spin further back down the pack. Michael Manley's lost a ton of position. He was running in 4th. Reese Gardner, Daniel McKernan and Justin all made their way through now. And Justin's now hunting down George.
Yeah, George Morris up to 4th place and Justin Ruggier up to 5th. George Morris 6 seconds off the lead, 8.9 for Justin Ruggier.
Now,
Corey is up to 2 there while the action was happening. But there's quite a big gap to the leader, Mitch Abrahall. He's got that gap out now to 3.3 seconds.
Definitely. Corey seems to be faster to the back end of this track, but now that Brad's got the slip from Corey, it shouldn't be too hard to get back on the back of him. Like Craig Dorr, our winner from V8 Online, having a good little battle here, and we've got Miles Burden and Robert as well.
Yeah, Miles Burden there in the RaceCentre sponsored Legend. Great looking livery on that one. George Morris has closed this gap to Corey and Brad very, very quickly. The gap now would be under 1 second as Corey and Brad continue to battle for second.
Great little battle back here between 8th, 7th and 6th. Michael Manley's gotten his way back around Reese. He's trying to hunt down McKernan at the moment, but definitely not a guy that I like to try and pass because he can get rather defensive, not aggressive. Just I should stop talking about him because he almost lost it then.
Yeah, George Morris up to P3 past Brad Ryan. He's going to be looking very, very closely at Corey Hanger here.
He's absolutely blitzing his way back through this patch.
His last lap, sorry, was a 5.944, which is, that would have put him P4 on the grid. That is amazing pace after 9 laps in this race. He's going to have a look at Corey very, very shortly here. You'd have to assume he's got great car speed. He's got a great run off turn 1. He's going to have a look up the inside into turn 2. He's going to get it done. Corey leaves him space. George Morris up to position 2.
Definitely a man on a mission at the moment. He knows where he wants to be. He knows he needs to get back up there. But it's not going to be too long until Justin starts biting on his heel.
Yeah, now that George clear air, you'd have to assume he'll continue to extend that lead over Corey in 3rd, but Justin Ruggier in 5th place there, fighting his way back up. He also did a 1 minute 5.9 last time around, and he's mowing down Brad Ryan at a great rate of knots.
Yeah, his lap times are looking really, really good at the moment. He knows what he needs to do. Obviously, they didn't sustain any noticeable damage from their little accident together. They're still hitting some really fast lap times.
And Ryan, massive moment at the final corner. He's going to lose it. Oh, keep out of the fence.
Oh,
wow, how did he not spin that? That is an amazing catch.
That is a lot of skill right there. He's managed to keep that together. That's
Wow. I can't believe he said it. It was one of those tank slapper moments where it just kept getting away from him, and he had to keep fighting it the whole way down the straight. But an amazing catch there for Briant.
and it's so easy to
Justin
do that.
Ruggiero and Corey. Hanger, sorry Daniel to talk over you, but he's right under the bumper of Corey Hanger, battling for third position. You'd have to assume he'll have a look down the inside into this chicane. He's got a good run. Very deep, Corey leaves him space. So up to position 3 there for Justin Ruggiero. Very bold move on Corey there for third.
Knows he needs to get around him. Needs to get around him fast. 1:06.9 there from Justin.
Yeah, so the gap to the lead is 4.5 seconds. Mitch Abrahall leading the race, did a 1:06.9. George Morris did a 6.1 last time around.
Now this is where it's going to get real interesting. They've all cleared the traffic now. You've got Mitchell, who is obviously, he's been kept out of the accident. You got George Morris who's really putting his foot down, trying to get back up there, and Justin's now clear as well in P3. All they have to do is worry about keeping the car straight and catching up to each other.
Yeah, this is where it's tough for Mitch Abrahall. We're not even halfway through the race yet, and he has to keep his concentration here and make sure he keeps doing consistent, fast lap times, which I can guarantee you is not easy when you're watching the relative to the following car. George Morris is flying, and so will Justin Ruggiero. 6.0 last time round, Morris, and 6.2 for Ruggiero.
Oh, almost half a second on
6.4.
that lap. So he's really putting his foot down, and that's one of the hardest things. Like, this is a mind game as well. Like, these guys are really going to be itching away at him on, I need to find pace because these guys are going to be on the back of me, but at the moment I've got a bit of fresh air, so I should be trying to run my own race. Just need to hold my lines. But so much should be going through his head at the moment just to try and stay out there, and he's not going to give up the position easily. He's going to want this win. Oh, that's always Brad Ryan's actually, from his last incident, was from a stuck brake, and you know, it's one of those failures that can go wrong, whether it be sim racing or real racing. Stuff happens. Probably another way to put that, but I won't say that on the broadcast, although it's 9 o'clock. So, but it does, and you've had these incidents. I've had these incidents where something gets jammed or something goes quite wrong, and it's the racing incident. It's the way it happens. But he's done well to keep it together.
Mitch Abrahall leading the race, doing a great job. 3.7 seconds is the gap to second. Mitch Abrahall 6.6 last time around, but George Morris 6.2, took 4/10 out of him, and then Ruggiero 6.1, took half a second out of the lead. So these guys are coming.
Definitely. Justin's going to want to hope that Mitchell really puts up his A game and holds George back so he can get right. If he can get right back into his slip, it's going to make it a lot easier for him. You can see him there, just coming out of the corners there. You can see him, but he's not close enough.
This is where it's hard for Mitch Abrahall to keep his head, as I mentioned. He'll be thinking now, eyes forward, but you've got all these thoughts creeping into your mind that you've got to try and avoid. Like, you start thinking of the prize when you win this race, and you've got to avoid that. You lose concentration when you think about winning before you've actually won, and George Morris here definitely closing in the gap. 3.4 seconds is the gap now.
Exactly. This isn't just a race for credit, although, you know, credit's good. This is a race that sees you on that next step to securing your drive in the final race in an Aussie racing car at Homebush. Like, one of the, that's a big achievement for a sim racer. It's probably one of the biggest things that you could win as a sim racer, to actually be shown as, that someone believes that your skills are good enough to actually race a race car. And this is what a lot of these guys are doing. They can't afford to be out there every weekend racing a race car, so they sim race instead.
Yeah, that's it. Brad Ryan's actually pulled into the pits and retired from the race, it looks like. We were speaking of pedal issues before. maybe Brad's just chucked in the towel there. He's realised he might not be able to salvage a result out of this one, and we talked about this before being a single race event and not part of a championship, so he might just wait for a later heat race to try and get that golden ticket to the final.
There's also another way that you can get into the iRacing final, and there is a point accumulation. So if you've got the highest points overall, and you didn't actually win a race, if your points are up there as some of the highest, then you'll get a ticket into the final as well. And this final is going to be absolutely brilliant. Like the drivers that are going to be out there, including you, Madison. I'm in a nice mood tonight. It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be awesome to see them all out there. And hopefully we get some guys from a couple of the other iRacing series, because I mean every Monday we get to see the V8 drivers, and they're brilliant, and they spend all week. And I know you spend so much time focusing on the V8, you don't have time to focus on other cars. But we've got a good range of drivers that are driving plenty of other cars, like the McLaren. A lot of people into the McLaren at the moment. We've got guys in the Riley. There's another really popular car at the moment. Anything else that you're driving in the iRacing sim at the moment?
Well, the new 6 NASCAR. She's come out today, so I think the guys are going to drive on as well. Yeah,
I've seen a few servers running around with the Gen 6 NASCAR getting around. A lot of guys impressed with it, and a lot of guys waiting to do some road racing on it. I don't think there'd be probably that same impression over in America with it, but yeah, a lot of guys wanting to turn right.
Michael Manley battling here to get around Corey Henger. That's massive moment there through turn 2. Takes the pressure off Corey for just a little bit, but Michael Manley certainly looks like he's got the pace. We talked about it before, he's carrying that injury, and it doesn't seem to be affecting him too much at the moment. He's doing a great job.
Seeing him with this kind of pace, I want to know where the cow kicked him now. This is what's going through my head. I'm like, did it kick him in the leg? If it kicked him in the leg, it's obviously not the leg he's using to accelerate.
Reece Gardner's just gone around actually and hit the fence as well, so that's going to badly affect his race.
Yeah, not a good way to
hit the concrete wall fairly heavily, so he'll have pretty bad wheel damage on that one, and he's actually retired from the race as well. No surprises there. Mitch Abrahall up the front though, he's very consistent, another 6.4. Gap though is down to 2.6 seconds between him and George Maris, but the lap times are beginning to even out. 6.4 as I made mention of last time round for Mitch Abrahall. George Maris 6.3, and Justin Ruggier fastest on the track, 6.1 last time around in 3rd place. This is going to close up in these final stages of this race and be very entertaining.
So halfway into this race, and it's definitely starting to eat up. This is going to be a really brilliant end. Quickly, I've got Brad Ryan on with us at the moment to give us a bit of a rundown about exactly what happened and how he actually saved that car to start with. Brad, you there?
Yeah. It's pedals. The brake pedal was just slightly on throughout that race, and I just had no speed whatsoever. And as far as that save, that was just fluke.
Oh, don't tell us that. We were just giving you a big rap about how good it was and how good the car control was to keep out of the fence.
Yeah, that wasn't car control. That was just thanks to the wall. It got me right into the right direction again.
Actually, why we've got you here, your start to the race, that was brilliant. No penalty for that. You actually did that cleanly.
Yeah, no, that was legit. That was just reaction time at its best.
That was unbelievable, man. Seriously, you need to come and shoot at me on starts. Michael Manley just run wide there in front of Corey after getting the move done. He's going to make the fence too.
Oh, that little bit of a tap at the back. It's not a good way to go. Now, here's the fun bit, trying to flick it back around, seeing what damage is actually done. You can see it's a little bit bent. He's still getting it going straight all right again.
He's just slightly overcooked it there. I think it's easy to make a mistake once you get around someone shortly after it, because you can use the the car ahead of you as a bit of a guide, and when that car's not there anymore, it's easy to make a mistake like that, and he's just slightly overcooked it, run wide, couldn't keep it out of the fence, unfortunately.
Exactly. It's one of those things, isn't it? If you're sitting there behind another car, you just follow their lines and kind of mimic what they're doing. As soon as that person's gone, you kind of lose sense of where your original brake line was, because you're not really looking at your braking markers, you're looking at the person in front of you to where you were braking, and it's as easy as that to make a mistake.
Mitch Abrahall getting reeled in at a great rate of knots by George Morris. George Morris is pushing hard. There's a bit of a scruffy last lap for Abrahall, a 6.8, but for George Morris, 6.1 last time, and Justin Ruggier, 6.1 as well. The gap now is 1.5 seconds, and it should be even closer than that after this lap. Let's wait for it to update. It's 0.8 of a second between first and second.
Oh, this is getting interesting. I'm looking on board with George at the moment. This is going to be the camera to watch right now.
See George there, just made the apex a lot nicer than Abrahall did, and probably reeled in a tenth or two just in that one corner. He's driving very accurately at the moment, and Abrahall's starting to feel the pressure.
Yeah, definitely. This is where it really starts to sweat. But Mitchell will actually probably start holding him up a bit here and giving Justin a chance to catch up. The last lap around it was 3.8. I think last time I looked at that gap it was about 4.6. So Justin is starting to catch up a bit. And as long as Mitchell can kind of hold George at bay here for a little bit, it'll bring Justin right back into this battle.
Yeah, as you mentioned before, Justin's going to be back there praying that George gets held up a little bit. But with that long back straight, massive draft, we'll see what happens, but it only needs to be 3 or 4 laps of George Morris getting held up here, and it'll make all the difference in the world for Justin.
Exactly.
This
Justin
could very
now
quickly
3.4.
turn into a 3-way fight. Very quick lap for George Morris last time, 6 flat.
It looks like Mitchell's really holding his lines. He's not making that legend actually really quite wide. He's holding his line, he's holding his racing line, he's holding him at bay, not really giving him much of an opening.
This is where he needs to get a good exit. He needs to get off here smoothly and get the best run he can. But George Morris, very, very good run there. Mitch Abrahall will go to the inside, make him go the long way.
That's where you want to be, but it looks like George Morris is going to have a bit more speed than him here. If he can get this close...
Very deep.
Oh, it's gone. Oh, and
he's not going to get it done.
No, he's definitely overcooked it there, and that make him do it the hard way. If you're going to get around there, you're going to have to try and get it done on that corner and just...
Yeah, this is all good news for Justin Ruggier in third. The gap will be closing up rapidly.
2.6. Now the gap between Justin and Mitchell, so he's right on him. He's getting there. We've got George Morris now. He's still struggling. Mitchell's just holding his line. He's doing this really well. He doesn't seem to be cracking under the pressure. It actually looks like George is having more trouble with the pressure of trying to get around Mitchell than Mitchell is actually defending his position.
Well, George is going to be, very keen to get around him very quickly, because he can see Justin closing in, and Justin's going to want revenge here on George, you'd have to assume. He won't be happy about what happened in the opening laps of the race.
Definitely
so Ruggier, when he gets to him, is not going to cut him any kind of slack.
And George didn't look like he got a really good run out of there compared to what he did on his last run through. Mitchell's still holding a really good line there. Yeah.
Very deep for both those cars. Now both skating on the brakes. It's a great exit for George Morris.
Oh,
he's going to get the job done.
Mitchell just looked like he went a little bit too wide there and couldn't get the power down early enough. And George Morris is going to...
He's going to look back at him though. He's got a great run off the final corner. George is going to have to defend. Mitch Abrahall down the inside.
Oh, Mitchell Abrahall got his position back. If he gets a run down here, he's in the right spot here. This is where you want to be coming into this corner. He's going to have the inside.
This is all news for Justin. We're just in a replay at the moment, I think, but there's a fantastic battle for the lead happening up the front.
We're back to live footage now. Mitchell's just lifted a little bit there.
George Morris now in the lead of the motor race with Mitch Abrahall in second. Mitch
and
Abrahall
Justin
will be
right
looking
on the tail.
Yeah,
Look
and
at this.
Abraham will be looking to get back at him here. He's got a good slipstream, not quite close enough though.
Mitchell just needs to stay on his tail. Mitchell can stay there and just kind of make him feel the pressure. Justin will be happy with that because that'll bring Justin right back in.
Certainly
Justin,
will.
look at
This is closed up at the front. Justin is closing in.
This has got to be within a second. What are we looking at now? Yeah, he's in just within a second now. So that's
Mitch
about 3
Abraham
seconds
here.
in the last couple of laps that Justin's closed that gap in.
Even though I think George Morris does have the car pace, I don't think he's going to be able to break away from Mitch Abraham in second, or Justin now. Justin is in the draft range, and George is going to do very well to shake them. It's
going to be hard. It's one of those things. Now George Morris has got the lead. Mitchell's now got the slip, and he can actually follow his line and see where he's going as well. It's going to be a matter of follow the leader, and Justin Ruggier is going to be the man to get around him.
Justin's got a great exit off that corner onto the back straight. He's going to go the long way around. Mitch Abraham is going to force him to go that way. It's going to be a braking duel.
Justin's going to need to get this move done quick if he wants to stay with George Morris.
Looks like he has, but Abraham, watch for the crisscross. Nah, not quite good enough.
Professional move there from Justin.
Well, this is going to be a sheer hot lap battle now between George Morris and Justin Ruggier. They're both very, very even on lap times, and the gap is 1.3 seconds. If Justin can just close up a little bit more, he'll be getting a draft from there, and that'll close him up to the lead.
That's exactly right. Mitchell, that might have been a strategic move there from Mitchell. Maybe he's giving him a little bit of room so that they can catch up together, and Justin might just get a little bit of payback on George.
Yeah, well, again, Mitch Averell there, he's back into third place, and these guys up the front look like they're going to go at it again, but it's been a great recovery by both these guys. Justin Ruggier, as I said, will not be happy after what happened in the opening laps, and he's got to try and keep the frustration to a minimum here. When you're frustrated, you don't quite drive as accurately, and he's done a great job so far, but now that he can see the win in sight, we've got to spin down at the chicane, actually. I think that'll be clear. Craig Dorr, that was.
Craig Dorr, a bit of a spin. I've got to say, Craig Dorr, Miles Burden, although now that they're about to go a lap down, they've done really well to pretty much stay out there on the lead lap.
Yeah, that's hurt Justin at the final corner. Craig Dorr just slightly balked him a little bit there, but the gap is 1.2 seconds between first and second. Mitch Abraham a further 0.6 back in third place.
Yeah, still got a little bit of lap traffic to get around here as well, so this is going to be a little bit interesting because they're going to catch up to them before this race is finished.
Certainly will, and they'll be hoping that the lapped cars obey the blue flags as much as possible and jump out of the way. It's going to be all about which of these leaders can get around the lapped cars without getting balked. A tenth of a second here and there can make the difference, and you'd have to assume the job of lapping cars would be harder for Morris. Being the first car on the scene, the lapped cars might not quite see him coming because these guys can close up on you so fast. Their pace is amazing.
Yeah, and Justin is obviously, you know, a lapped car. By the time he's noticed and he's moved out of the way, the person that's in second is just going to slip straight through that gap that's been made for him. So yeah, Justin's definitely in the prime spot here. 1.408 now the gap.
Yeah, George Morris a little bit quicker on the last lap than Justin, pulled out 0.2 of a second. Mitch Abraham still keeping with Justin. Got 9 minutes to go in the motor race. Can Justin Ruggier close the gap to George Morris? Got a few lapped cars, but Miles Burden in the RaceCentre Legend coming up next for George Morris, followed by Michael Manley, who's actually got a damaged car after that wall hit. You'd have to assume the rear suspension is a bit out of aligned on that car after that concrete wall hit coming onto the back straight.
Yeah, definitely. Looking a little bit bouncy there. I'll just let them through, giving them enough room. They've got their own race to run.
Yeah, good job there from Miles Burden. Not really in a battle himself, so he jumped out of the way and let the leaders finish this one up.
A little bit of there's actually a few battles happening. They all seem to have split off into pairs. Daniel Kernan and Corey Hanger in a battle for 4th and 5th, and Michael and Robert.
Justin Ruggier actually just did the fastest lap of the race last time round. He did a 5.915, closed the gap to George Morris, back down to 1 second.
Wow, he knows what he wants. He's going to get there. It's that little bit, he's probably not really noticing much of the slip at the moment, but he just gets that little bit of extra time in there and he'll be back into that slip. Once he's back into that slip, he's going to get sucked right into his tail. I'd
say he's there now. I'd say from there he'll be getting a draft, and it's going to be hard for Morris now to actually pull that lead back out again. Mitch Abrahall slightly lost the draft in third to Ruggier. The gap's be a little bit too big to be getting a benefit from it. Back in the field, we got the XSG Motorsport teammates Daniel McKernan and Corey Henger battling fairly hard for position. Daniel McKernan got Corey a few laps ago. We just missed it slightly, but Corey's actually got him back now and is back up to 4th place.
Yeah, definitely doing a nice little run here. Pretty happy with the guys' effort, and this is for the other spot. This is the points as well. So you know, if these guys don't get the win on this one, they just need to bank those points. If I could get on the headset and say anything to it at the moment, is bank those points.
Yeah.
to get that seat.
Yeah, I forgot about that wild card you spoke about before. If you don't win one of these races, the highest point scorers actually get a golden ticket as well. So there is a championship happening there as well. Justin Ruggier closed the gap down now to half a second. Morris got held up just a little bit in the mid part of that lap. 5.823. George Morris has had a problem.
Oh,
he's slowed under the bridge.
Cut track penalty. They've got it. Justin's applied the pressure. So easy to do. Cut track penalty, and he's just had to slow down.
Last time by, Justin Ruggier did the fastest lap of the race, 5.8, I was about to make mention of. And as you said, Daniel, the pressure was beginning to mount on Morris, but importantly, he hasn't lost the draft. He's now got Ruggier's draft, and we'll see if he can close that gap back up.
That's
6 minutes to go left in this race.
It's one of those things. George Morris and Justin Ruggier, these guys are going to fight hard, and you know, did lose position, but he didn't lose that slip. And you know, this is a really hard track to defend it. There's lots of really good overtaking positions, especially if you've got the slip in one of these little machines. It's a little bit easier to get around than most tracks. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. Justin's going to defend like crazy to keep that spot though.
Michael Manley and Miles Burton with a bit of a battle about to occur here. Michael Manley had damage, as we spoke about. Miles Burton closing the gap there. They're in 7th and 8th position. Justin Ruggier leading the race by half a second over George Morris. There's nothing in it. You can see the cars moving around on shot. They're absolutely 110% committed at the moment.
Definitely driving these things right to the edge of their seats. You can see them, especially around some of these corners, the cars that are sliding and they're managing to control them. It's definitely one of those things. If Jordan Morris can apply enough pressure here to Justin, you know, it could be easily, Justin gets the cut track and it switches again.
Yeah, I know from experience, Justin Ruggier isn't normally a driver to make mistakes, but George Morris, 5.9 last lap around, 2nd fastest lap of the race. He's definitely applying the pressure to Ruggier. Now, it's funny how it switches. We've spoken about this draft, but around here, it's just so important. And Justin is going to have to make sure he gets great exits off all of these corners.
That looks really close there to a cut. Like I was a little bit worried for him coming out of that corner, but that's one of the things. As a leader, you can really nail this section. As soon as you get back onto the straight, all George needs to do is be in behind you, and he's going to, anything that you've made, he's going to be straight back on your tail again.
Yeah, that's it. It's really frustrating for the leader here because you've got to make 2 or 3 tenths up through the twisty stuff to basically avoid being passed by the following car. Maris seems to have closed the gap a little bit more. It was half a second last time around. When they cross the stripe, we'll see what it is with about, what, 4 or 5 minutes to go in the race? Gap now down to 3 tenths.
I think it's starting to time down, and I'm sure these boys are watching their clock. 3 minutes to go, so we've got another 4, 5 laps left to go in this race.
Should be about 3 laps to go, possibly 4.
Oh,
depending on when they cross the line, we're not sure.
Right here on Justin. Justin hasn't got a really good run through here. Going to have to go to the descent.
Jump on board with George Morris. He's got a fantastic run. He's right behind the ANZ Motorsport legend of Justin Rougier. Rougier's got a good exit there onto the straight. That'll help him down here. I don't think Morris will be close enough this time by, but coming into this chicane is where it'll be.
Going to pop out a little bit there. Then
you can see how committed they are into that chicane. The rear's chirping under brakes as they stand on the brake pedal. These guys have got nothing left.
Definitely making the most of these machines and pushing as hard as again. You can see George poking his nose out, seeing where he can get a little bit of a clean nose in there between him and Justin. But definitely on it, and it looks like George is getting a really good run at the moment coming into this section of track.
George actually looks like he's a little bit better through this twisty stuff than Rougier, but Rougier is better in the second half of the lap, particularly coming through the fast right-hander we're approaching in a few seconds. Yeah, Rougier is getting the car off there.
Yeah, this is one of those corners where it's really make or break. It doesn't look like much. But
it's a mistake for Rougier. He's wide.
That's not good. You really need to speed down here to his defended his position. George has popped in right behind him. He's going to go to the inside line. He's going to hold it here.
Marsh goes the long way. Very deep. Rougier sideways under brakes.
Doesn't get much. George has got a really good run.
He's going to have a look.
He's going to have a look.
This should be the final lap. The next lap by, Morris will want to get this move done. There's nothing in it for the lead of this race.
This is going down to the wire, this one. But George Morris is popping his nose out again. Justin's going to defend. No, George.
Rougier's going off the road. He's run wide.
No, Justin's gone a bit too wide. Oh, he's going to be so disappointed. He must have really been feeling the pressure on that one. And as we said before, Justin's not the kind of man to make mistakes.
I think he just got up a little bit high on the entry of the corner while George was underneath him. George sent it up there, but Justin just went in there a little bit too hot, got out on the marbles, and had nothing he could do to prevent it from going off the road. Great job not to spin, but you'd have to assume George Varis now, leading the race, isn't going to get caught.
Definitely not. George Maris won't even have to worry about pushing it. He could just take it easy now and bring it home. Justin would be absolutely kicking himself. It's not very often we see him make mistakes like that, and to lose it like that after all that work to come back through the field.
The final lap here. George Morris, after a great battle with Rougier, takes round 2 of the RaceCentre Race to Reality iRacing Heat. Great drive, great battle for the lead with Rougier. Mitch Abrahall, great job in 3rd position there as well. He drove brilliantly tonight.
Like McKernan's coming in 4th at the moment, still running down on track with Corey. What an absolute nail biter to see those guys make their way back through the pack between George and Justin, and Justin was a little bit further down than George, and the battle that we had at the end there for it just to go so pear-shaped to Justin after pretty much inheriting the lead from George after George made his mistake of cutting the track. Just an absolute nail biter. That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
That was cool.
McKernan home in 4th. Corey Hanger 5th for the XSG Motorsport team.
A little bit of play there with the boys with Corey deciding to take out his teammate there.
Don't need the cars anymore. Riders off.
Yeah, we're done. Boom. Let's get rid of it. Wait for
what a race. That was an
Absolutely.
amazing race between Maris and Ruggiero. I can't get over how those guys, after that opening lap drama between those two, they managed to work their way back through the entire field and still finish 1-2. That is an amazing effort from both those drivers.
Definitely. It's probably got you a little bit scared now, Madison, going into the final after seeing that kind of effort put in. That was an absolutely brilliant drive by both of them. I've no doubt in my mind that Justin's actually going to probably get one of these tickets into the final iRacing race.
Oh, without question.
Next week we've got Lime Rock Park, which is going to be brilliant. That makes for some of the best racing. Although in a V8 supercar it just ends up to complete mayhem. But in a Legend, it's going to be absolutely brilliant. So you guys can still get tickets for that. There's links on the Facebook page. And there's also the R Factor League. So if you're not used to the iRacing sim, you can jump on the R Factor League run by Oz Factor, and you can win a ticket into to get a seat that way as well. So if you want to do this from home and you think you've got the skill, got the pace, get in and give it a go. And yeah, it should be absolutely brilliant. All right, guys, that's it for tonight. Brilliant race. Good job by Justin. Good job by George. Hopefully we'll see Justin out there again. We'll see you guys next week, 8:45 p.m. for Lime Rock Park. And yeah, it should be brilliant racing. I'm sure we're going to see Justin out there again, and we're going to see another great race. And hopefully you'll join me again next week, Madison.
Yeah, great race tonight. I think I should be all right to be back here next week. I definitely enjoyed watching the race tonight. The battle up there for the lead was absolutely edge of your seat stuff. So yeah, I'll hopefully get back in the commentary box in the next few rounds, and yeah, hopefully we see some more great racing.
Definitely. All right, guys, we'll see you actually all tomorrow for Thursday Night Grand Am. Let's enjoy.